Things are not going to plan. Hey guys, welcome back to the Sub 36 project. There's been a slight change to the project. The goal remains the same, and that's to go sub 36 minutes over 10k, but the location and the time has changed. So instead of having a crack at it in Swansea on the 17th of September, I'm now going to be doing it at the Vitality 10k in London on the 24th. So I'll run you through the latest block of my training as I work towards that goal. And as you'll see, it's not exactly gone to plan, which has got me worried about my ability to hit that target on the day. Picking up from where I left off in the last video, on the Friday I ran a pyramid run. So this was where I worked my way up through various pace ranges in 10-minute increments, starting from very easy to working to easy, then to a steady pace, and then hitting tempo pace. And then instead of just finishing the session and cooling down, I worked back down through those paces in 5-minute increments until I got to my cool down. The purpose of that being that you build yourself up to tempo pace, put some fatigue into your legs, and then have to work back down through the paces on tired legs, so you're still pushing it slightly rather than just going straight into a cool down. Hopefully sessions like that will get me used to putting in effort on tired legs. On the Saturday I had a rest day on my schedule, so I took the opportunity to head up to Cardiff and check out the Podium 5k event in Butte Park. Some of the guys I trained with were there, so I had a great opportunity to cheer them on and see them absolutely smash it in the races they took part in. I also had a really cool opportunity to do some videography for Ben Is Running. And while I was doing that, I met up with him and Cole Gibbons from Cole Running. It was a buzz to watch them race and inspirational to see them and the elites absolutely smash it on a really fast 5k course. You get to a point in your running journey where you think, I'm getting pretty good at this, and then you go to an event like that and it's like watching an entirely different sport. And on the Sunday, I had a chance to grab breakfast and a coffee with Ben and Cole and pick their brains about what it's like to run at their level of the sport. Shout out to those guys for tolerating my questions, giving me the time, and just being all round good eggs. So Sunday I drove back to Devon and had an 80-minute run where the only instruction from my coach was find some hills. That really isn't very hard to do here in Devon, they're everywhere. So I took the chance to head up the lane from my house and run around some of the hills in the countryside surrounding my neighbourhood. And although I was only a few miles from my house, the run included 3 stops to check the map and 1 to let a farmer drive his cattle across the road. Monday was a nice simple run on the slate, just 30 minutes with some strides to get me ready for a session I was planning on doing on the Tuesday. I started to feel some soreness in my soleus muscle, but I wrote that off as just a minor thing after a little bit more elevation the previous day than I'm used to. Figured those hills would just stiffen things up a bit and I'd be able to stretch it out, no problems. That turned out to be wrong. I was hoping to bring you along to a group session this week with my coach, but they've been put on pause for a few weeks while people are away on summer holidays, so I'm training solo. So today's session starts off with 3 by 2 minutes at 10k pace, 4 by 3 minutes at 5k pace, and then 5 by 1 minute at 3k pace. So I'm escalating up through the paces, plenty of recovery between each set, just trying to find some more top end preparation for a race next week. Just going to feel my way into this session. It's got a slight niggle in my right lower leg, probably nothing but worth keeping an eye on, so let's go.
A few moments later.
Well, feeling pretty sorry for myself having had to abandon that session. That little niggle in my lower right leg just wouldn't go away, but also just in general my whole body just felt bleh. Paces felt harder than they should have, and the fatigue that I was feeling last week just worsened. So I think it's probably my body telling me it's time to have a little break. Last time I didn't listen to my body and push through, I ended up damaging my Achilles and was out for a month. And I really don't want that again. So I've woken up this morning and yesterday's run has definitely made things worse. Definitely something to watch, lots of rest, lots of ice, some ibuprofen for the next couple of days, and then see how it feels. So today's Thursday and it's day 2 of rest, ice and ibuprofen. Fortunately, time's on my side because, as I said at the beginning of the video, my goal race has now changed. So I'm hoping to use that extra week this week to get plenty of rest. I'm hoping I've done enough of the right things quickly enough, though, in this case, to stop it from causing me a long layoff. But from a mental health perspective, even a short absence from running is something that I find difficult to deal with sometimes. But I guess that's the danger of attaching so much importance to running or to any hobby or pursuit or profession. If you can't do it, then what have you got left to combat negativity? And actually the answer to that is there's loads of things you can lean on. A good friend of mine suggested reconnecting with some old habits, and it actually got me into picking up my guitar again. So I'm guessing the neighbours are probably going to hope that I get over this injury pretty quickly. I mentioned it previously, but I've recently stumbled across the discovery that one of the reasons running has become so important to me is that I have complete control over it. But actually I'm starting to realise that I do still have control over this. Although I can't get out and do the runs and the sessions I want to do, I do have control over how quickly I recover from that. And that's governed entirely by how I treat this injury. The process of dealing with injury is all part of the running journey, and we're all going to have to face it at some point. So I'm trying to use this as an opportunity to make sure that I put into practice some things that will help me with future injuries as well as this one. Anyway, that's been my week in training, or lack of training is more accurate. But this weekend, in the absence of running, I'm planning on giving a little bit back to the sport that I love, and we'll be volunteering at my local park run. Hopefully I'll be able to bring you along to see what that looks like from the inside. As always, please give the video a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and share it with your friends via all your social media channels. That'd be really appreciated. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.